What is up, everyone, and welcome to today's video. Today is going to be the last video of 2024, and I think you guys already know what it is. If you've been watching my channel for the last few years, at the end of every year I've done a my favorite videos of X year video, and today is no different. I want to start this off by saying I hope everyone had a great holiday and got to spend time with your friends, got some cool stuff. I've got a lot of cool gear and stuff, new merch to wear and all that kind of stuff. It's been a very, very good holiday for me. So I hope everyone else had a good holiday weekend, whether you celebrate, Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate. I hope it was good. And hope everyone has a good New Year's as well. Of course, I'll wish you guys that again at the end of the video, but I'm going to go run some errands, and now you guys are going to see my top 10 videos of the year. So hope you guys enjoy. Alright, we're going to start this one off with number 10, the front end facelift, or as I like to call this video, Mark 7 V2. So this video was meant to show off just a complete refresh of the entire car in terms of cosmetics, which I'm still not entirely done with. I still have parts to buy, and I have a part that's been sitting in the front room of my house for months now. But I bought BMP Mark 7.5 headlights to replace my aging VLAN Mark 8 lights. I bought a lighting pack grill and put AliExpress grill lights, which is what you're seeing on your screen right now. And I bought an Aerofab front splitter. Now, I wanted this thing to be completely different than what it used to look like in terms of the front end appearance, and it is by far my favorite look for this car. I love the grill light, especially when it worked. Looked gorgeous, and I still find myself now walking out with those lights on and being like, dang, this is a good looking car. Which is something I would say with the Mark 8 lights, but obviously not as much as now. I think the car looks exceptional with those parts on it. And the reason this video makes a list is because, well, one, I didn't upload a lot this year, and I wanted to include one of the parts installs, and I feel like this was probably one of the better ones. There's one more part install I did this year that I think tops this one. But all in all, that's why. The video did pretty well in terms of viewership as well, 317 views, which I know doesn't sound a lot to most people, but to me that is a lot, considering my channel pretty much died off after I sold my truck. So for GTI videos finally starting to surpass those view counts that I got with my Sport Track feels great. And this was one of the early mod videos that did that, so that is why it is number 10. The next one we're going to talk about is my favorite install video of the year. This is the JQ Works paddle shifter install, the Madtrace magnetic paddle shifters. And this was something that I saw for the first time through a YouTuber I watch called Thick Whips, who is one of my favorite car creators, if not my favorite car creator right now. And I know a lot of people who watch him are like, dude, why do you even watch him? He does BMW videos. You're a Volkswagen guy. So I have a soft spot for BMWs. And they were one of the brands I cross-shopped with Volkswagen when I was looking. And of course, my heart eventually went to everyone's favorites brand that we don't talk about how it started. And, I've always just watched his videos, and I've really enjoyed his videos. And this was something that I saw him install in a handful of cars, including his M4 GTS that he had, and I just knew I had to have a set for myself. So I started looking, and I saw that they made them, but at the time I just could not bring myself to stomach the money. But this has become one of my favorite mods I've ever done to this car, and it's so uncovered. No one talks about these paddle shifters for these cars. Everyone will just go the extension route, which is what I was doing for the longest time. As you can see here, I'm taking out my paddle shifter extensions. And I don't know. I just feel like this is probably one of the best bang for a buck mods for a DSG car. It's a lot of money. $300 is a lot of money to spend on paddle shifters. But to me, it gives you a lot of extra feedback that the DSG just does not give you otherwise. Because the factor paddle shifters, they're kind of just, I don't necessarily want to say cheap, but they don't feel very good. They don't give you any feedback. It feels like you're pushing a button, which is effectively what it is. But with the magnetic paddle shifters, you get a click, you get a really loud click, you get a little bit of, you have to put a little bit of force in to shift it now, and it's just a really nice extra bit of feedback. It very slightly closes the gap between the automatic and the manual in terms of feedback. Obviously the manual will forever give you more feedback, but if you want a bit more of a mechanical feeling, a little bit more feedback in your DSG car, I highly recommend them. And that is part of why it makes number 9. It's my favorite paddle shifter. It is my favorite paddle shifters, but it's my favorite mod video of the year. It was by far one of the most easiest things I've done with the car. Still not a way to mess something up. I did crack the inside of my steering wheel trim. Thankfully no one can see it, but that is in the back of my mind and it bugs me, but that's what made the list. It got decent views, I believe. I'm going to scroll down and look real fast. 673 views, so a good bit of views, and I think that is well appropriate considering the mod that it was, and this was another one that I spent a lot of time trying to work on. because you know, I've focused a lot on trying to make my channel like Vic Whips, but just with Volkswagens. So I think this is one of the videos where I did a halfway decent job of that, and that is our number 9 entry. Alright, next up on our list is going to be the most recent Caffeine and Octane video. And now this one is probably one of my least favorite Caffeine and Octane videos I've done. I tried to focus a lot on covering as many of the VW Group cars as I can, as I've done in a lot of my recent videos going to events, including Caffeine and Octane and Import Alliance this year. But yeah, I mean, the only reason I don't like this video in comparison to the others is just it was very just spur of the moment. I didn't really know I was going to go until the last minute. And, you know, it's just, I don't know, I just never enjoyed this video in terms of car events. I do rank it over mod installs with this one because it's, you know, a little bit more involved. There's a lot more going on. You know, we're seeing all sorts of different builds and stuff. There's lots of cool cars there, as you guys saw with the cinematic with the Jetta, which thanks to Kaysen, by the way, for when we filmed that. He took my camera and was just like, I got you, and he took that, so thanks to him for that. But, yeah, I mean, it was a great video in terms of just videos in general that I filmed, but out of all the car event videos I've done this year, I think I would rank this obviously over Import Alliance, because obviously Import Alliance is not on this list, but this was a video that I, you know, kind of threw together kind of quick. I still think I did a good job with it, but I definitely think I could have done better. The reason it's on this list is because while it is not my favorite car meet event video of the year, in fact, there's, I believe, 2 videos that top this one, and I'm sure the majority of you can see where this is going. I feel like it was still a good video nonetheless, and that's why it made the list. And I do value my experience videos where I do something other than work on the car and a higher value to mod videos, which is why they're ahead of the 2 mod videos on this list. Alright, next up on the list is going to be the parade lap from Wookiees in the Woods. Now this is going to be one of, obviously, 2 videos from this event. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. The main Wookiees vlog does make this list. But this was one of the follow-up videos to that where me and Kaysen covered the parade lap. He helped me out with filming this because we had to do hot swap the battery of my GoPro, which overheated, messed up, I don't know. It said it had like 40% charge, which would have gotten it through a pass on the Dragon. It just died directly after passing the Killboy store. And Kaysen and I had to hot swap the battery while trying to keep up with the rest of the group from Wookiees, which, as you guys can see, got split up between a bunch of Hondas, I believe. And yeah, we had to hot swap the battery. I had to rip the head strap off my head, hand him my GoPro, hot swap the battery, throw it on while trying to handle all 318 corners of the Dragon, which thankfully was a relatively painless process. I didn't have to use a pull-off or anything. I was able to keep my eyes on the road, and, you know, he helped me put it back on my head. So huge thanks to him. If I didn't have him in the car, this entire video would just not exist. So huge thanks to him. And it was also a really fun event. I'm not going to talk a whole lot about Wookiees as a whole yet, because I think that I'm going to save that for when the main video pops up on this list. But this was just a fun one. It was just a fun little showing off the parade lap from the POV of one of the cars in the parade lap. A lot of videos you see of the Wookiees parade lap is from people, as you guys just saw, standing on the side on the pull-offs with their cameras out, taking videos of all the cars passing by, which is great because I got a lot of B-roll footage of my car from these guys. So I can't thank these guys enough that stand out there, post the videos, and, you know, are chill like that. So I appreciate those guys for sure. And obviously the photographers and stuff that take their time to go to the Dragon and take photos and all that stuff. Great stuff, great work, and obviously their work is definitely appreciated by me. The reason this video makes the list is obvious. I mean, it was a great video. It was a great event. I'm not going to hark on it too much because, like I said, there's a whole other entry where this video is, where this whole event's going to get talked to death. But yeah, this was just a fun one. It's probably you know, obviously the lower ranking of the 2 Wookiees videos, but I really loved it. It didn't have a whole lot going on, which is why it's going to rank lower than some other videos on this list. Obviously, I was driving the Dragon, and we were driving at kind of a mid-pace. We weren't really pushing. We weren't really going slow either. So that's that. That's why I made the list, and that is why it is number 7. Let's move on to number 6. Alright, number 6, we've got Volkstoberfest 2024, aka the Caffeine and Octane VW Invasion. They really can't decide on a name, but this was a fun one. Fun little vlog with everybody. Obviously, we got Bri-Fi on screen here, drinking some coffee, living up to the caffeine part of Caffeine and Octane, but this was a fun video. Me, him, and Kaysen, aka Ignite Media, all part in the showcase. This is the first time that both of them have done it. This is the second year for me. I did the showcase last year and this year with them, and it's always just a really fun experience getting to watch all these really cool VWs show up. Obviously, as a Volkswagen channel, this is the kind of stuff we live for. And yeah, it's cool getting to meet all sorts of people for the first time, see them again for the first time in a long time, and obviously hang out with a lot of cool Volkswagen builds, ranging from show cars on air to big track builds, such as some of the cars hanging out by GMP. The APR cars were there. There was, Beetles, buses, Carmen Gias, squarebacks, everything under the sun, Corrados, Scirocco's. There is no shortage of cool VW builds at Volkstoberfest, and that's why I love it so much. There's really not any bad builds in the showcase, especially the showcase. All the cars are relatively clean or stock. There's some of my favorite cars were at Volkstoberfest this year, and one that was really cool, and you guys may have just seen it on screen, it's not facing it now, is this little white Mark 7 here. This is actually a full one-to-one clone of the GTE, which was a version of the GTI we didn't get here, which is obviously hybridized or electric. Lots of cool stuff. That the Mark II you guys saw at the beginning of the video with the December variant back in Entry 8 is in this one, and obviously some really cool VR6 stuff, as that's my heart when it comes to VW. I love VR6 engines. Lots of cool stuff, and that's why it makes the list. It's just such a fun video. Like I said, I kind of hold experiences over mod videos, and this is definitely one of those good experiences from the year. I always look forward to this event. I'm already looking forward to 2025 for this event, because it will be right before I get married. So it'll be the last car event I go to as an unmarried man. So lots of stuff to look forward to, and it's definitely one of my favorite videos I did this year by far. So anyway, let's move on to number 5. Alright, at number 5 is going to be the feature film we did with this B9.5 RS5 Ascari edition. Now, this was one of the first videos, if not the first video I ever did in the new feature film format, which is what my old school car reviews I've done for years has evolved into, and obviously focuses more on the VW group now than all the other brands I covered way back in the day, which was mostly Ford, because I had a Ford at the time. This video was based around my friend Ron's dad's car. My friend Ron, his dad just bought this car at the time, and this, I believe, was the day he bought it. Ron brought it over to the house, and I was like, hey, can I shoot a video on this car? He got permission from his dad to drive the car on video and was allowed to kind of thrash it a little bit. And I think it made for a really good video. Obviously, it was a great entry for the first ever feature film on the channel. And it was one of the last videos I did with my GoPro. The only other video that I used the GoPro on after this, especially when it comes to feature films, is actually the very next video on the list. But this was a really fun one. The car is just insane. It launches so violently, and it's something that I put in a blooper reel at the end of that video if you guys want to go back and watch that. We launched control of the car, and it launched so hard that it actually ripped my GoPro out of its case, and I believe unplugged it from the microphone, which I don't remember if I had the microphone plugged in at the time. I typically don't when the windows were down, when I used that Rode mic on my GoPro. So I may have been unplugged, but regardless, it launched violently enough to send my GoPro out of its case and almost out of the car. So yeah, that doesn't tell you how aggressive B9.5 RS5s launch. I mean, I don't know what else I can tell you. Honestly, I feel like this is probably one of the hardest launching cars, if not the hardest launching car I've ever been in. I know a lot of people are going to see a certain other feature film that's going to be on this list, that with a car that technically makes more power than this. But I feel like just the way this car builds boost, and maybe it's the extra torque from being a twin turbo V6. It's insane. I absolutely adore this car, and the fact that it's a special edition like the Ascari is really cool. So it made the list just because it was a very good video overall. I felt like this was a really high quality video, and it's a really cool car, and it was such a fun video to make. That's why it made the list. So let's move on to number 4. Alright, at number 4 is the Mark 6 feature film. Now, this video was another fun one to make. This was Kaysen's Mark 6, aka Ignite Media. I've known him for a very long time, and he's a very frequent flyer in this channel since the very early days of my car videos. So, really good long-term friend of mine. We did a lot of cool stuff with this car in this video, and it was also the first time that I drove stick on video in years. I believe the last time I drove stick shift on video was in 2018, up until this point. And I really was excited about this one because I wanted to show you guys how much I'd grown with driving stick. So I'm very thankful for Kaysen letting me drive his car for this feature film. The cinematics weren't quite as good as the old one, as the RS5 video, but I think the experience was just so good in this car. I've always told Kaysen, out of all the cars he's owned, and obviously is a VW enthusiast, and he's going to call me out, I'm sure, in the comments if he's watching this right now. I have a little bit of a bias as a Volkswagen super fan, but this was by far one of my favorite cars I've ever driven. Sure, it doesn't make a ton of power. Is it as fast as my Mark 7? Absolutely not. Is it as snappy and nimble as some of the newer cars on sale? No. But what it does have is a soul that I have never been able to find in any other stick shift car that isn't older than it. I've driven a couple older stick shift cars, including a Mazda Speed 3, my friend Michael's Mazda Speed 3, which is extremely difficult to drive, and my friend Ron's 350 ZHR. Those are the only cars that I feel like compare to the experience I've had in this car. And sure, the shifter is not the best. Kaysen will tell you that too, and any enthusiast of manual Volkswagens will tell you the shifter is not the best. But just the feel of it, driving stick shift in such a cool car, a lightweight car like the Mark 6 that's got plenty of character, is just such a fun experience, and I highly recommend anyone who can drive stick and wants to have a manual car to try it out, especially one of these older PQ chassis cars like the Mark 5 and Mark 6. They're just great cars to drive. This video made the list for multiple reasons. One, because it was the first feature film in the new feature film format where I got to drive the car, and it was that good of an experience. And obviously I just really enjoyed the car, and I really enjoyed showing you guys what I could do with stick shift after all these years of not being able to do it. So anyway, that is why this video ranks so high. But there is one more feature film that outranks this one, and it was a really hard choice pick between the two of them, and that is going to be at our number 3 entry. Alright, at number 3 is the RS3 feature film. This is by far the best performing video of the year, just under 1,000 views, which again, I know to some people can be like, oh, that's it. But considering how far this channel has had to recover from the drops from losing my truck and going to this car, it's pretty good. It is actually, as I'm looking now, more likely the 3rd best viewed video of the year. Only 2 videos top this video for the entire year for me. And this was a fun one to make. This is my friend Ron's car. We have done a few videos on it, not just this year alone. We did a video, me and Ron, when we first went and got this car. I was with him when he bought this car, and yeah, he bought this car. It's always been an attainable dream car for him. I was the one who introduced him to the RS3 because we worked at a car wash together, and an R8 came in one day, and he was like, man, I wish I could have an R8. And I was like, how about I show you a car that's half the price, sounds the exact same, and is more practical? And I showed him the RS3, and he fell in love with it. So when the time came for him to get one, he jumped on it, and I think he will tell you himself he would never get rid of this car. It means so much to him. This feature film was the 3rd feature film I'd done, and I'd taken lessons I'd learned in creating the first 2 to try to better this one. And it also was the 2nd video to show off my engine bay mic setup, which is something that I really like and I don't use a whole lot. I've done footage, some of which you guys have not seen on this channel. I've used it on my own car. I've used it on Michael's S5. I've used it on Ron's RS3. I've used it on Kaysen's GTI. I've used it on my own car. I think I already said that. But one car that I used it on that I'd never filmed and posted to here was a supercharged E92 M3, which was a really interesting one. But yeah, this video was just such a fun one to make. I spent a lot of time getting the cinematics dialed in right, a lot of time making sure that, the interview segment with Ron looked good. I really wanted this video to be as close to perfect as possible, and I think I nailed that on the head. I think this was a really fun video, and of course, getting to drive the RS3 is super fun. It's such a fun car. It's so fast. And yeah, while I do think the RS5 does launch harder to this car is still violent, and I enjoy every minute I get to be in that car, whether it be driving, riding, whatever. It's such a fun car. This one makes the list for several reasons. Obviously, this is probably the best edited feature film I've done. While I will say I had a lot of fun driving the Mark 6, and I think that equated to why it's up so high on this list. This video was just put together better. Obviously, this was the first feature film I'd done with my DJI Osmo Pocket 3, so a little bit of a jump in camera quality between the two, from my GoPro to this, because I filmed pretty much every video on my GoPro entirely. I tried to avoid using my phone to film videos as much as I could, unless I just had to, like with the Wookiees video. This video was just super fun to make. It looked good. The audio was great. Everything it was a perfect storm to make this video. And I think that, it was by far the best put together video, probably of the year, honestly, in terms of videos I've done. I feel like this one was just the best put together video. And the quality, I think, just was the best. I genuinely think this was the best quality video put out this year. The car was fun, great video. Like I said, number 3 of the year in terms of views, and definitely a fun one to say the least. And this video would be number 2 if it weren't for a certain video that isn't even 2 weeks old from the time I'm filming this video. So let's get into that. Alright, at number 2, you guys probably saw this video coming, the autocross video. Now this is one of the newest videos on the channel. In fact, the time I'm recording this, it's the second most recent video that I've posted on the channel, and this one is probably one of my favorite videos I've ever made, because I got to live out my dream. My whole dream with this car was to set it up to be really good on the street and pretty competent on the track. And getting to finally experience it and see the work that I put into this car, and with my friends helping me out along the way, getting to see it all in action was excellent, and just being able to do it was excellent. Finally get to say that I did it, that I didn't just build the car to do this and never do it. It was super fun. I learned a lot about the car that day. I learned a lot how to get the car under control. And, I think that with some practice and time and some extra work, that car will be extremely competitive in autocross. It makes a lot of power, which is probably its biggest Achilles heel in this whole thing, as it builds a car that it makes too much power for a front-wheel drive car for this. For those who are unfamiliar with my channel, my car has a hybrid turbo and makes right at 400 wheel horsepower. So it is definitely tricky to put that 400 horsepower down on a tight course like this. So it was super fun though, and by far one of my favorite videos I've ever posted, not just this year. There's only one video that tops it, of course, but yeah, this video makes the list for, like I said, many reasons. Most of it being just one of the best experiences I've had with this car, being able to take it to a track, put it through its paces, and see what the build was meant for, see it all come to fruition. And I think it was just an excellent video overall. It was super fun being there with my friends and getting to see not only my car in action, but get to see theirs. Especially in terms of Michael. I've been watching him on Tail of the Dragon for years. Just he's extremely fast, and he doesn't give himself enough credit because he is one of the faster drivers I've seen. Ron is quick as well, but Michael doesn't give himself enough credit. Ron knows he's fast. Michael will, be like, oh, no, I'm not that great. And then he just goes out there and shreds it. So it was great watching them. It was great watching Michael beat Ron twice, which I'm sure if Ron's watching this video right now, he's rolling his eyes. But it was a really good video. And obviously, in terms of views, it did pretty okay. I mean, obviously, it's only 2 weeks old. It's got plenty of time to get more views. But it's at 379 at the time this video is being recorded. So yeah, not too bad at all, considering how the views have been on my channel this year. So yeah, that's the reason it makes a list. And obviously this video was never meant to be number 1, because there was only one video that could have been number 1 for the whole year. So let's get into that for our last entry of the year. Alright, finally at number 1. This is the video that I think you guys knew was coming. And yeah, that is Wookiees in the Woods 2024. This is the full vlog of the year, and it is just excellent. Now, this was before I had really decided to focus more on how I edit my videos, so in terms of quality, this video is on the lower end. I feel like, personally, for the year. But I really wanted to, cover my experience at Wookiees for the first time. I wanted to, show off so much from the event. And I feel like I did a halfway decent job. I think next year I want to be a bit more aggressive with how I vlog and vlog more stuff. Which is interesting considering the video is already over almost 40 minutes long. It's one of the longest videos I posted this year, if not the longest video I posted this year overall. Which is part of the reason why the parade lap was split up. This video would have been over an hour long if I had included the parade lap in this video, so that's why I didn't. I wanted this video to be relatively, watchable and not a movie. So, yeah, it was a great experience, though. I will say over and over again that I am now a Wookiees fan for life after this event. It is definitely a must-go event if you have a Volkswagen. As you guys can see, Kason was with me. This was before he got his GTI. So next year, you guys will expect a 3rd edition to the group from Georgia coming up, because obviously you guys can see here. Met some internet friends that I had from TikTok and all that stuff. We got together at the Ingalls in Robbinsville, North Carolina, where Wookiees is held. And we hung out all day. We went and got gas. We went and cruised with them on the Dragon. We went and got pictures at Fontana. We went and hung out and did the parade lap together. It was such a great event. And obviously, I got to thank Kason and Breyer, aka Bryfi in Ignite Media, for going with me on this one, because this was a fun event and by far one of my favorite experiences of the whole year. And yeah, it was so fun. And obviously, this one makes number 1 on the list because of the event behind it. Like I said, is this the best put together video I posted this year? Absolutely not. It is far from it. But in terms of just the experience that I had at this event, just the fun factor of the whole weekend was just great. Even though, and I didn't get it on video, it was the first time I'd ever been pulled over, was during the Wookiees weekend, ever in the, what is this? I'm about to be going on 10 years of driving. Actually 10 years this year, considering I got my learner's permit in 2014. But you know, it's crazy. I did not think that it would take me that long to get in trouble, but of course, the Tail of the Dragon got me, and I almost got a speed trophy or whatever they call it. I can't remember the name that the community gives to getting tickets on Tail of the Dragon, but I was close to my first. It was performance award. There it is. I almost got my first performance award ever on Tail of the Dragon. So it was such a great experience, though. Just the whole weekend was great, despite getting in trouble. We went and got good food, met with good people, hung out with good people. It was just it's a event that if you have a Volkswagen or don't have a Volkswagen, you just like Volkswagens, go. It's worth it every time, especially if you are a Volkswagen enthusiast, and especially if you're a VR6 enthusiast. Obviously, us 2-liter guys, or as I like to call them, the Ewoks, because we're not full Wookiees. You know, we get good representation there, but obviously the event is mostly focused around the Mark IV and Mark V R32s and all the other VR6 stuff. But like I said, if you are a VW enthusiast, if you own a VW, if you just like them, if you love VR6 engines, you love 2-liter engines, whatever, come to Wookiees. It's such a great experience and so much fun. So much fun. So yeah, that is number 1 on the list, and that rounds up the entire list of my top 10 videos of 2024. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Like I said, I hope you guys had a good holiday and have a good new year as well. We've got a lot of stuff going on in 2025. I'm going to do a video probably, you know, the first weekend of 2025, talking about what's going to go on this upcoming year. There's a lot of stuff I want to cover in terms of how the year's going to go, how the car is going to go, and all that stuff. And obviously, this video is already fairly long, or so I'd cover that now. But I do want to thank you guys for all the support this year. This year has been the best year since getting rid of the Sport Track in terms of views and interactions and just all around. This video also, the Wookiees video, is the most viewed video posted this year, just north of 1,000 views, which again is low in comparison to years past. But obviously, considering what happened to the channel, the switch in complete car, you know, carness, I guess. I don't know really how to say it. Switching from the Sport Track to the GTI obviously caused a huge drop in viewership that I didn't think the channel would recover from. And 2024 proved me wrong, and we're getting back to where we were, you know, in late 2021, when the views were at their best with the Sport Track. So I have you guys to thank for that. It was such an excellent year for videos, and obviously, just I can't thank you guys enough. It was just such a great year, and I'm excited for what 2025 will bring. And yeah, so I will see you guys in 2025. I hope everyone has a great New Year's weekend and has a great rest of your day. I will see you guys later. Have a great day.